Good evening and welcome to the Ludlow Town Meeting. My name is Newton. I'll be your moderator tonight. And before we start the business of tonight, I'd like to request a moment of silence for those the community has lost since the last town meeting in the past year. 3 people, including Howard Barton Sr., who was the superintendent of Ludlow Electric from 1975 to 2022, to Herb Van Gilder, who served as a Ludlow Select Board member for 27 years, and also served as village trustees on the school board, planning commission, and cemetery commission, and was a longtime village moderator, and Martin Nitka, who served as town attorney, member of the select board, cemetery commissioner, and who held this position as town moderator for many years as well. So I just request a short moment of silence for those and any others that we've lost in the past year. Thank you very much. And I'd also like to welcome first Tom Ray and Jim Rumrell of the Ludlow Rotary Club, who'd also like to honor Marty Nitka tonight briefly.
Thank you very much. Good evening, everyone. My name is Tom Ray. I'm the current president of the Ludlow Area Rotary Club, and joining me is Jim Rumrell, who is the immediate past president of the Rotary Club and is a longtime Rotary member here in the Ludlow area. So we're here this evening on behalf of the Ludlow Area Rotary Club to remember and honor Marty Nitka. And as was just mentioned, he is a longtime town moderator, a longtime resident, and was also a longtime Rotary Club member. We're just delighted to have this opportunity to donate to the town this beautiful lectern in Marty's memory and his memory to his service to our community. We're also very pleased that Alice Nitka is here this evening to be here and also celebrate our ability to do this. Now, unfortunately, I didn't have the opportunity to know Marty, as I'm a fairly recent full-time resident of the Ludlow area, despite the fact that I'm already the Ludlow Area Rotary Club president. So it's a warning to people who would like to join our club. So Jim Rumrell, who did know Marty very well, is here, and he'd like to say a few words about Marty. Jim.
Thank you, Tom. As a longtime Ludlow resident, it's impossible not to come in here and hear Marty's voice and feel his impact when you come in. He had that unique skill and deep sense of community that allowed countless of people over the years to speak their mind in this forum, many times allowing a resident to finish what they were saying and get their thoughts out in the true spirit of local democracy before interrupting and letting them know that their comments may or may not be germane to the topic. But always with respect to the local residents. As a member of the Ludlow Rotary Club, Marty was instrumental in many of the traditions that still serve us today. At our annual penny sale fundraiser, he was one of the very early organizers and spent many years as an announcer on stage. He was a mentor to new and experienced members alike. His contributions of time and talent helped to put the club on strong footing and allowed us to serve the community in many ways that we still do to this day. And so much of the things that we did that allowed us to put some money into flood relief, so much money into flood relief, were a result of what he had his hands on years ago, and his impact is still felt. We're proud tonight to honor his memory and his commitment to service above self with the dedication of this new podium. And I would like Alice to come forward to we will reveal the plaque. Mr. President.
Thank you very much to the Rotary. Martin would really be honored to have this done. And at his funeral service here, someone who was working organizing things said, well, why don't we just put his ashes right on the podium? So, thank you very much. Thank you to the Rotary.
Thank you very much. And I know that I won't be able to have half as much wit as Marty, but I'm glad to be using this podium, thank you, in his memory. So now moving on to the business of tonight, I'll just take a few minutes to review the process of sort of how town meeting operates. There are 9 articles to be cited through this year's town meeting. Article 1, which is for the election of town officers, will be decided tomorrow here between 10 a.m. and 7 p.m. through Australian ballot. The rest of those articles will be decided here tonight by all the voters who are here. We'll work through each article one by one, and you can follow along by going to page 10 and 11 in the town report. You can also find additional information about each article on page 13 and 14. You are here to make decisions about those articles only, and you can't make a binding decision on anything that hasn't been listed or warned already tonight. If there's something you'd like to discuss or comment on that isn't directly related to one of those warned articles, you can do that during other business, which is at the end of the meeting. We'll be using Robert's Rules of Order, except when modified by Vermont state law. All that means is that for every article, someone can make a motion to adopt it, and someone can second that motion. After that happens, discussion can begin, and the discussion should be relevant to that specific article. Every voter has the right to participate in that discussion if they wish, and every voter has the right to participate before someone goes and speaks for a second time. If you would like to speak, you can come up to the microphone in the middle, wait to be recognized, and please start by saying your name for the record. Only registered voters of Ludlow can make motions and vote, but please let us know if you would like to speak and you are not a Ludlow voter. When the debate is over, we'll vote on the article. First, I'll ask people in favor to say aye, and then those against to say no. And I'll announce the outcome of the vote based on what I hear. We can't go back to a previous article after it's been moved, after we move on to the next one. So at that point, the article is settled, so no going backwards. If there are no objections tonight, Town Manager Brendan McNamara and Ambulance Service Chief Stephanie Grover may participate in tonight's discussion in their official capacities, even though they are not Ludlow voters. Any questions about the process of tonight? All right, so I can start by reading Article 2. Article 2, shall the voters of the town of Ludlow fix the salaries of the Select Board, Cemetery Commissioners, and Trustees of Public Funds the same as last year, that being Select Board, $1,600, Cemetery Commission, $900, Trustee of Public Funds, $400. Does someone move to adopt the article? Yes. And your name?
Linda Thompson, I so move Article 2.
And is there a second? Your name? And Terry Carter. Any discussion on Article 2? Hearing no discussion, we can move for a vote. All those in favor of passing Article 2 indicate by saying aye. Aye. All those against say no. The ayes appear to have it, the ayes do have it, and the article is passed. Moving on to Article 3. Shall the town of Ludlow collect taxes on real property in installments, taxes to be paid to the town treasurer on August 15th, 2024, November 15th, 2024, February 15th, 2025, and May 15th, 2025, and must be delivered to the town treasurer and postmarked on or before the due date. Anybody move to adopt Article 3? Yes. And your name? Is there someone who seconds it? And your name? Thank you. Any discussion on Article 3? All right. Hearing no discussion, all those in favor of passing Article 3 say aye. Aye. All those opposed say no. The ayes appear to have it, the ayes do have it, and the article is passed. Article 4. Shall the voters of the town of Ludlow authorize the select board to borrow money to pay the necessary expenses of the town and any part of its indebtedness? Will someone move Article 4? And a second? Any discussion? Hearing no discussion, all those in favor of passing Article 4 indicate by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed say no. The ayes appear to have it, the ayes do have it, and the article is passed. Moving on to Article 5. Shall the voters of the town of Ludlow vote a specific amount in lieu of a rate on $1 on the grand list as set forth in the Select Board's budget and Windsor County budget? Then the Select Board shall set the tax rate necessary to raise this amount after the grand list has been completed and lodged in the office of the town clerk. The amount to be raised by taxes will be $4,684,819. Is there someone who will move to adopt the article? Yes. And your name? Is there a second? Pam O'Neill? Okay. And would the town manager like to start discussion
Yes.
on this one?
Good evening. Thank you for coming. I would just like, there's just a point of clarity we wanted to make regarding the budget, which can be found on page 15 in your town report. This is the 2025 budget preface. We caught that there was a printing error in this. Again, to be clear, it changes nothing with the number that we're voting on, the number that is warned, the number that is in the budget summary. But what you will see is the numbers in the preface. For item 1, it should be $6,843,392. Item 2 should be $2,158,573. So the bottom number is that the total budget we are working with is the $4,684,819 for a difference of $275,704. Again, changes nothing in what we are voting on here tonight. This was just an error that we caught in the printing on the preface, and in transparency, wanted to relay that to everyone here because we did catch it. This is my first year going through this, so in all, ultimately, this falls on me. So I did not catch this until late last week. So that is my apologies to the town and to the board. But again, changes nothing regarding the voting, but I just wanted to bring it to the public that it was something I felt everyone should be aware of. Thank you.
Yes. And if you could use the microphone. Yes, please.
My name is Lou Krefsky, Krefski. I'm a voter of Ludlow. Just an inquiry, page 28, and it would be line 1, Chief Deputy. Just an inquiry, we went from 13,800 to 95,000. Probably just a question of a dramatic jump of many hundreds of percent. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. So that is, for our budget, that is our major increase this year, really when it comes down to it, is we are advocating and looking for a full-time fire chief for the town of Ludlow. Peter Kalinda, our fire chief in the town, is retiring this year, June 30th, after 25 years in the town. This has been a discussion that has been had with the board, with the fire chief, And at this juncture in town, with the services that this town needs to render, a full-time fire chief seems to be the best direction for this town to cover fire, help with EMS. So it's been multiple discussions with the board through our budgeting process, personnel, and at this point, some towns are going towards this model, but it seems to be, right now, this opportunity is what we feel, as we're trusted to do, is the best option for our fire services in this town. So that encompasses a salary and it would be insurance for a full-time person.
Joanna Bombadil, another small one on page 21 in the appropriations list. I noticed that there's no report for BRAC, who we're giving $10,000 to, and I wondered if somebody was here who could speak to what our $10,000 is doing. Thank you.
Any other comments?
Is there anybody
Discussion?
from, is there anybody from
Is
BRAC?
anybody from BRAC?
Thanks.
Pam?
I can speak to, as the former president of BRAC, when we had some retiring members, Paul Fienza, when BRAC is now, the fiscal agent of BRAC is now the collaborative, and who is providing services through students that attend Green Mountain from Ludlow, and also works with, they do an open coffee day to try to reach out to families who have individuals suffering from addiction and substance abuse. I know, I'm going to look back that BRAC, Lauren Ingersoll has had some conversations with Divided Sky to try to work with offering support and programming with Ludlow for not only the youth of Ludlow, but also the adults and community members in the Ludlow area.
Thank you, Pam.
Any other discussion on Article 6?
5. Are we still on Article 5?
Article 5, excuse me.
Yeah, Reinhard Perry from Ludlow here. I'm curious about the high school building that we're budgeting $97,000 for and anticipating raising $90,000 in revenue for it. I thought somewhere along the line the building was going to be decided whether we were going to keep it or sell it after 5 years. I raised the same question last year, and I'm curious where we stand. Are we good property owners and going to break even on this, or are we just going to keep pouring money into a building that isn't being fully used?
Brendan?
Sure, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Perry. So that is the budget items there are currently for the Housing the Expeditionary School. There has been conversations as we extended the lease with the school for the past year. There have been some discussions at the select board level that we need to, as a community, have that discussion of what the best use for that building is. Some things have been delayed that process, one being myself coming into this position, the flood delayed it. But we're at a point right now moving forward that that's a discussion that needs to be had as a community. And I think that that's going to happen aggressively within the next few months, because we do need to make a stand as to Mr. Perry's point, what is in the best interest and how can we work as a community to have this, what is the best use of our assets. And I feel that doesn't apply just to the school, to a number of other things, but to your point, Mr. Perry, that's exactly that point. That project and process will begin to move forward.
Mr. Pullinan?
Pat Pullinan, board member for the Expeditionary School at Black River. Just by way of explanation, when the school closed and the town assumed ownership of it, there was a clause that the town would maintain the facility for educational use for the first 5 years or for 5 years. And indeed, that's what they're doing. This will be the 5th year coming up. Originally, when we opened as a school and we negotiated with the town, we prepared a 5-year plan at the time, which included eventually making a decision with the town to either lease the building full-time or perhaps purchase it. It was ambitious at the time, but part of our 5-year plan included becoming an approved school by the state of Vermont. And I think we all know what happened in that process. It was delayed and delayed, and eventually it did take place late June last year. That also had an impact on our school as we went forward. We had to find a new head of school. There were some decisions made by students that had to place themselves for the following year. So some of our students left. Right now, our number one concentration is recruiting students for next year and in hopes of growing the school. The intention of the Expeditionary School at Black River is to become a community school for students here in Ludlow and Mount Holly, surrounding areas, something that's local. We really are here to serve the community of Ludlow. Where we go after this year, we'll sit down. I know that we'll talk with Mr. McNamara and the Select Board, but we'd like to continue as tenants and grow the school. So that's our plan.
I'm John Denner, a voter in Ludlow. Was there any consideration given to moving the elementary school into that building rather than floating a $5 million bond?
And just a reminder that we're on Article 5, which is specifically about the budget. So I think we can talk about sort of the school as it pertains to the budget, but if we get too deep into sort of these discussions, they might be more appropriate for
I can retain
Article
the question
9.
till later.
Sure. Thank you. Any other, of course.
Glenn Heidsmith, 112 Route 103 South. For another week. Do I have the ability to make an amendment to something that just came up, Mr. Moderator?
If it's germane to
Okay.
the Article 5.
If you'd like to rule me not germane, I'm used to that. So, how about that I make an amendment that rather than giving $10,000 to BRAC, you give it to Divided Sky with the predicate that this go towards addressing the nation's, the state's, the town's opiate problem. Namely, tomorrow the Rotary Club is learning about Narcan. I don't know if there's any Narcan available in this building. I don't know if Divided Sky would provide for that, but I think that we have to have our eyes open about the problem of opiate addiction. And BRAC's not even here tonight. Are they here tonight? Divided Sky isn't here either.
Oh, yeah, yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. Divided Sky is here, okay. Okay. So I think instead of giving any money to BRAC, you should give it to Divided Sky. That's my motion.
Thank you. I'm going to say that the motion is not germane. Yeah. If there's an objection, you can vote to overrule me, but that's going to be my call for the. There are no objections? Okay. Any other discussion on Article 5? All right. Hearing no more discussion, we'll now vote on Article 5. All those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed say no. The ayes appear to have it, the ayes do have it, and the article is passed. Article 6, this is a long one. Shall the voters of the town of Ludlow authorize the select board to maintain a capital fund to support the following vehicle and equipment purchases, building maintenance and repairs, and to fund programs, that being Highway Equipment Fund, $30,000, Fire Equipment Fund, $30,000, Police Equipment Fund, $5,000, Recreation Facilities Fund, $10,000, Town Hall Facilities Fund, $10,000, Ludlow Community Center Facility Fund, $5,000, Black River Senior Center Facilities Fund, $2,500, Black River High School Building Fund, $5,000, Dam Spillway Fund, $125,000. The amount to be raised in taxes will be $222,500. Is there a motion to move Article 6? Sharon Bixby makes the motion, and a second was Terry Carter. Any discussion on Article 6? Yes, like to come forward.
My name's Peter Gerard. I don't think I need to go to the mic. Couple of questions for you. One is, if we have to buy a new piece of equipment, do you guys float a bond or take out a loan to get that thing, or is this fund actually in a savings account that you can pull the money out?
Would someone on the board like to, or a town manager?
Hi, well, we bond some of it. A lot of it cuts the cost on the machine when we buy it. We sometimes have to bond the additional amount, but it kind of cushions it from trying to borrow the whole thing.
Well, I'm not against that. I'm just asking
Yeah.
a question. My other thing is, what the heck is a damn spillway fund?
That is, that was added to this for the repair of the spillways that were damaged during the July flood. So the spillways that 3 and 5 were damaged significantly during that event. So repairs, I worked with the EPA, which is the Emergency Watershed Act, which is also through the USDA, it's a 75-25 match to have those repaired. So we were on the hook for $125,000 and change. I don't want to count my chickens before they hatch, but last week I'm 99% sure that I was able to secure 100% funding for that project. So hopefully the 125 won't be needed. Let's put it that way.
Okay, take it out now.
Well, I don't want to go that far. So.
Any other discussion on Article 6? Would you like to come forward again?
Reiner Perry again. Wondering about the $5,000 for the Black River High School. We just were talking before about the $90,000. Now we're adding another 5, so now we're up to $95,000. Shouldn't maybe we put the 5,000 in with the 90 or something?
Someone, Brendan or?
Sure, I believe that is more, Mr. Perry, for a capital fund for long-term projects. So it builds the balance rather than a yearly budget.
So if we decide the school's going we got the 5,000 to go into something else?
Well, it would be towards that building, I guess. So,
Okay.
Mr. Pullinan?
And to that, I think that would be to cover expenses for any repairs long-term.
long-term capital projects.
Just as the tenants of the building, this past winter, when we had some of that severe rain, caused a little bit of flooding. It also formed, I guess, an ice dam on top of the building, which leaked down through the ceiling, which did a little minor damage. There's some ceiling tiles in the main hallway that came down. But because we were in the building, we were alerted to it, and we passed that on to the town manager and his crew. So it just happened to be a good thing that we were there. But again, I'm sure that that would be for expenses similar to those kind of needs.
Dam spillway fund. The spillways were damaged during Tropical Storm Irene. The select board over the last several months have heard from a resident pleading for something to happen. I've lived in this town for 30 years. God bless those dams that they didn't break, because I guess the wall of water is supposed to be 2 feet or 6 feet for 2 miles or something like that. They were built in the 1960s or maybe the 50s by the Army Corps of Engineers. In the 30s. Okay, they haven't been maintained. They're not even working right. The spillways are just part of the problem. Why doesn't the Army Corps of Engineers come in and make that right? Why are the folks of Ludlow being asked to pay for that? If my FEMA buyout goes through next week like it's supposed to, I'm out of here. But I feel sorry for everybody downstream. This building is downstream. Thank you.
Any other comments about Article 6? All right. Hearing no additional discussion, we can now move to vote on Article 6. All those in favor of passing Article 6 indicate by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed say no. No. The ayes appear to have it, the ayes do have it, and the article is passed. Moving on to Article 7. Shall the voters of the town of Ludlow appropriate the sum of $7,250 to the mover, formerly the current, to support the public transit bus service to Ludlow from Bellas Falls and from Rutland? Someone move to adopt Article 7. Yes. Thank you. And a second? Thank you.
Could you please tell me who made the motion?
Tracy Leary.
Tracy Leary?
Is there any discussion on Article 7? Yes.
Glenn Heightsmith, 112 Route 103 South. That mover's great. I rode it last Sunday up to Okemo. It's nice because you don't have to go through you don't have to park your car in the muddy parking lot. Speaking of which, Mr. Town Manager or Select Board, what is Okemo's share in operation of the mover program?
I'm not sure.
You know, Bruce?
I'm somewhat sure. I'm somewhat sure, but I don't want to hang out there. They want the riders.
Mr. Schmidt?
Bruce Schmidt, 988 Chapman Road. Okemo pays $35,000 to the mover for a route from Bellas Falls, Springfield to here, and then we pay another 10 or 12 for, in the area for doing the, just village shuttle.
Any other discussion on Article 7? Looks like there isn't, so we can move to a vote. All those in favor of passing Article 7 indicate by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed say no. The ayes appear to have it, the ayes do have it, and the article is passed. Moving on to Article 8. To the voters of the town of Ludlow, exempt the lands and improvements of Fletcher Farm Foundation from real estate taxes for a period of 5 years, commencing with the 2024-25 tax year. Someone make a motion to adopt this article. Send your name.
Linda Thompson, I so move.
Is there a second?
Who?
Can you say it again? Any discussion on Article 8? Mr. Thompson.
Yes, I'm George Thompson. I live on one of the lakes, on Lake Pauline. Sometimes we're in the lake, but we like to think we're living on it, and we hope we don't live in it again this year. But I am the president of Fletcher Farm Foundation, and I just thought I'd like to take an opportunity to tell you a little bit about what the foundation does before we take a vote on it. The foundation was actually formed in 1933, so we're 90 plus years old, and it was originally established in honor of Governor Allen Fletcher, who was the former governor of the state of Vermont, and it was established by his wife and his daughters for the benefit of the people of both Ludlow and in Cavendish, because part of the property is in Cavendish and part of the property is in Ludlow. They bequeathed the property, the physical property, to the foundation, and then fortunately they also provided money, which is in a trust, and the insurance, or not the insurance, the interest is used to maintain the property and the buildings. And that's what the purpose is of the foundation and the interest that comes in on that. So I just want to tell you a little bit about what the foundation does, in case you didn't know. There's about 105 acres that belong here in the town of Ludlow, and there's about 150 acres of property that belong in the town of Cavendish. They're voting on this article in Cavendish as I stand here and speak. But I want you to know, the foundation actually, on an annual basis, donates $40,000 to our Fletcher Memorial Library. If you haven't been in that library, you need to go and see it. It is absolutely a beautiful, beautiful structure, and they have wonderful programs for this community. In addition, we donate $10,000 to the Cavendish Fletcher Community Library. We provide buildings and grounds for the Fletcher Farm School for the Arts and the Crafts. We have scholarships for Cavendish and Ludlow residents to take art classes at the Fletcher Farm School for the Arts and Crafts. That averages between $5,000 and $6,000 each year. We pay 50% of the tuitions for that. We have below market rents for community organizations, for Two Rivers Supervisory Union, for Stepping Stones Preschool, for HCRS, for Beekman House. We donate the use of the barn, which is twice a year, to Black River Good Neighbors for their rummage sales. Everybody in this room been to the rummage sales? If you haven't, you need to go to those. The dining hall is available for community groups. It's available for BRAT. BRAT's used it. The Scouts has used it. Other organizations have used it. And it is available so that people can use that building. It does have a full kitchen and dining room area in it. We provide land for a community garden that's out behind most of the buildings. If you have any interest in joining in a community garden, there are still a few plots, I understand, open for this coming year. The land where the dog park was located, and hopefully will be located once again, is also on Fletcher Farm Foundation property. The Fletcher Fields, where our kids have played ball for years, those also are Fletcher Farm properties. There is a hiking trail out behind the community garden that's named in honor of Miss Fanny. It's hiking trail. It's available to the community. There's going to be a new sports trail out in that area as well, up and beyond where the garden is, and we're providing the space for that. The other thing that we did this year is we actually made significant contributions to flood relief, to Black River Good Neighbors, and also to the Cavendish Community Fund. So for the reasons that I've listed and the things that I think Fletcher Farm Foundation does for this community, I'm hoping that you will continue the tradition of 90-plus years and vote positively for Fletcher Farm Foundation to continue as a tax-exempt organization.
Thank you, George.
I'm happy to answer any questions, if anybody has any. The mine area is not a part of Fletcher Foundation anymore.
And your name?
Years ago, that was sold off.
I'm sorry, when you're sitting down there, I cannot hear you. Please give me your name and what you asked.
He asked about the...
Got it, Alicia? Good. Anything else? Thank you.
All right, hearing no more discussion, we can move to vote on Article 8. All those in favor of Article 8 indicate by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed say no. The ayes appear to have it, the ayes do have it, and the article is passed. Before we move on to other business, if there's no objections, we will briefly suspend the meeting to allow our legislators to give a brief update from Montpelier.
Hello, Logan Nicole. I am your state representative. I don't think any of our senators are here tonight. Last year we I forgot to ask Newt ahead of time, so we didn't do this, but I used to do this every year. Just very briefly talk about what's going on. So right now in Montpelier, we are off this week. This is kind of our 1 week off in the middle of session to regroup. It is about the midpoint of session. The legislature starts in January. It runs through about mid-May. This next week when we go back, it will be what we call crossover, which is it's just the time of year where we have decided artificially that anything that's going to go forward this year has to have passed from the House by the end of next week, and the Senate. You know, if they want to send us any bills, they have to pass by the end of next week. And so you'll hear a lot more about like bills that are coming out because they're starting to actually be finalized and voted out of committees. I personally am on the House Commerce and Economic Development Committee. We've been working on a handful of bills, but our biggest bill this year has been around data privacy. We've been really diving into this issue of just companies being able to harvest and sell your data. Right now it's pretty unregulated. There are a lot more regulations in other districts in Europe. In Connecticut just passed a big bill. California just passed a big bill. So we're kind of looking at what they're doing so as not to reinvent the wheel and so as to create some uniformity around what companies are asked to do. That's definitely been my biggest topic this year. Obviously, there are a lot of big issues that are coming through this year. We are still talking a lot about housing. We're talking a lot about education finance, Act 250, all rolled up into all of that. That is not my committee, so I'm not testifying on those things, or I'm not listening to those things directly, but obviously I do follow those to some extent. I tend to not follow them as closely until this part of the session, just because in committee things change very quickly. And so it's hard to know what's actually going to go forward until you get to crossover. And then you kind of know what's going to pass out of the House at least. And then you can start to pay attention more to what the Senate is doing to it on the other side and the whole process. I will say that obviously everybody, I think, right now is very anxious about education financing. I think that we're all really, paying maybe closer attention to that. That is a big issue. I don't have any great answers. I don't have any magic bullet there. It's going to be a tough year. And, you know, we're trying to figure out the best path forward, ways to soften the blow, as it were. But, you know, it's going to be, that's a really hard issue, and I don't see a clear, you know, way around it that makes it any easier than it is right now. I think that, you know, I'm happy to talk in more detail about these things if you want outside of here. I don't think there's, you know, I don't really want to spend all kinds of time here just telling you everything that I think about what's going on. But I think that, you know, some of the bigger issues with ed financing are that we had a lot of federal money over the last 3 years, and we used a lot of that to artificially deflate property taxes. And now that we're on the other side of all that federal money, it's kind of turned into a major cliff. And then, you know, there's all kinds of other factors. Obviously, health insurance is still this bigger issue that if we had some better system in place, then it wouldn't affect things all over the place like that. Health insurances are up in all budgets, and that's been a major factor in all state budgets, in all school budgets, everywhere. But anyway, I just wanted to let you know we are thinking about it. You know, it's not in my committee. I'm not talking about it directly, but it is. I know it's the biggest issue that everybody's really worried about, and you know, I'm worried about it too. I don't know what we're going to do yet, but I have faith that we're going to do everything we can. I usually write more articles. I've had some personal health stuff going on, and so I haven't written as many articles lately as I used to in the paper, but you know, I usually put my cell phone number out there. You can always call or text me, 802-345-8430. I also sometimes I use my Ledge email, but my Ledge email started to get overrun with a lot of spam, and conservative groups signed me up for like every pro-life event and things, and so I get like 200 emails a day on there. I usually use this other Gmail account that I set up because it doesn't get as spammy. But that's just rep.logannicole@gmail.com. Feel free to email or call or text me anytime. And yeah, love to hear from you. Oh, I will say one big thing that just happened kind of like right before we left. We passed the Budget Adjustment Act, which is like at the midpoint of the year, we passed this bill just to kind of true up the budget, you know, that is currently in progress. To make it reflect more, you know, where actual expenses are. And in that, we were able to secure like an additional, it's a little over $1 million in flood relief for Ludlow specifically as a carve-out. I was really happy with that. I worked, I'm not on appropriations, so I didn't work on that directly, but I talked to a lot of my friends in appropriations, and I was really excited with the formula they used to decide which towns got what, just really benefited us. And yeah, I'm really excited about that because we have we obviously have way more expense than that, but it is something to help soften the blow.
Thank you. We'll return to our regular meeting with Article 9 to transact any other business necessary and proper when met. Voters to discuss whether to consider, to transact any other business necessary and proper when met. And we don't need a motion for this because nothing we say here can be binding. So I think we'll start with Brendan McNamara, and then we can go ahead to.
Thank you all for coming again. I just wanted to take a quick moment, acknowledge two things. First, Bob Brandt, who is not here tonight, he's out on the Catamount Trail, is done as a select board member. So I just want to recognize Bob's time and dedication and service to the town. So thank you, Bob. Secondly, I mentioned it earlier, but we need to recognize Chief Kalinda is here at his final town meeting as our fire chief after 25 years. So I'd like to take a moment and recognize Peter for all he's done for this town, for what he's done for me for the last year. So Peter, Chief, thank you very much. And just last, on a personal note for myself, I just wanted to thank everyone for coming out tonight. Next month, I'll have been here a year. So I wanted to thank the Select Board trustees for giving me the opportunity, our staff here for their support, but also the community. It's been an interesting year. So I wanted to thank you, everyone, very much. I'm so thrilled to be here, and thank you for your support and your continued support. Thank you.
Hey everybody, I'm Carmen Schleter. I'm with Divided Sky Foundation, and I just kind of wanted to come by, say hi to everybody, and just give you an update. We opened November 13th of last year. We've had some great guests come through the program. We've got on some great hikes in the area, had them out and about. It's been wonderful. We've had some great support from everyone. We really appreciate it. Wanted to let you know we have a really fun Divided Sky Fund Run coming on May 18th. It's coming to Jackson Gore. And there's a bunch of festivities to follow this year, so we hope that we get some folks to sign up, come run with us, and that's it. I just wanted to let y'all know we're really grateful for your support, so thanks.
Any other business? Yes.
Appropriate time for my question?
Yeah, come on.
John Denner from Ludlow again. So tomorrow we're going to be voting on about a $10 million school bond. Approximately $5 million of that is going to repair the elementary school. And I'm just wondering why consideration wasn't given to moving the elementary school into what appears to be a woefully underutilized building, formerly the Black River High School. Anybody?
Any other discussion about that question or anything else?
No answer.
It's a school board.
It's a school.
It's a school board issue. It's not the town's issue.
I understand that, but the building is owned by the town, and I'm surprised that there wasn't discussion between the two boards to utilize that facility.
I happen to agree with you, but that would be the school board's decision.
Thank you.
Attend those meetings.
I did.
Mr. Denner, I would think that, and that is, I mentioned earlier, part of the discussion about the building and what the long-term plan is for that. That might be encompassed into that. Again, I'm probably not the best person at this point to speak on this project, but I would think that that's going to be, any and all ideas are going to come forward with those discussions.
Unfortunately, though, tomorrow we're voting
Yeah.
on this bond. That's going to put everybody's real estate taxes into double digits increases.
Sure.
A little late.
Yes.
Dean Alexander, is there no one here from the school board that can answer that question? And if not, I think that's poor.
Any other discussion? There's no other discussion. I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Sharon, who was the second? Mr. LeGros? Mr.
Don LeGros.
All those in favor of adjourning, say aye. Aye. All those opposed, no? The ayes appear to have it. The meeting is closed. Thank you all for coming tonight.